Welcome to the Drawing Board. I am your host and in-house artist, Erin Leffler. If you're not familiar with the Drawing Board, here's a quick recap of what happens on the show. Every episode of the Drawing Board, I invite a guest from the comics and entertainment industry, and we learn a little bit more about what they do. And while we learn about what they do, I'm also drawing them. Pretty fun, right? Well, for all my techies out there, you're going to be very excited this week because we have the first guest of their kind on. If you like watching those videos talking about different tech specs and everything, then this is the episode for you because this is exactly what he does. He's known around the internet as Soldier Knows Best. Please welcome my guest, Mark Watson. Hi there.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just hanging in there. How about you?
Good. I'm good. Getting to do the show, that's the best thing about the week for me. So, for the kids and adults out there who may not know what you do you want to give us a little rundown about your job?
Yeah, so I basically make videos on YouTube, mostly full time. And so I get a chance to try out all the new tech gadgets like smartphones and, tablets and cameras and stuff like that. And I basically just kind of review them and I break them down into videos so people can understand what they can do and whether or not they should buy it.
Wow, that's really neat. Now, I have to ask, how long have you been doing this?
I started doing videos when I was in college in 2006, and I started doing tech videos in 2007. So that puts around 15 years or so.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, you are the first guest of this job on my show, which I think is really cool because we never really think about the people behind these tech review videos, but we always end up watching them when a new tech piece comes out that maybe we want to buy and just don't know about. What got you into wanting to do these videos?
It was exactly that. So I was actually looking to buy the very first iPhone when it came out, but I wasn't sure. So I went on YouTube and I watched somebody's video, and they were just, they weren't a big tech person at all. They were just somebody who just purchased a phone and just wanted to tell people about it. And that video was a part of the reason why I was convinced to go buy it myself. So when I got the phone, everybody was asking me about it. So I made my own video. And it was horrible quality, but I made that video, put it up, and that kind of just gave me that bug to want to keep doing it.
For sure. That's pretty neat. And nowadays there's a lot more tech videos out there, but at the time that was probably kind of brand new into the tech world.
Yeah, especially on YouTube. There were other sites, but back then YouTube was really just started, getting started there. And tech wasn't as popular as it is now.
Now, usually I ask people about their inspirations of doing this, but it's kind of like a difficult thing because, well, we can look at other YouTubers and stuff, but it's kind of hard to find inspiration for making our own videos that way. But we take inspiration from tech. Are there any tech brands that you find a lot of inspiration from?
Actually, you know what? When I was a kid, when I was in middle school, there was a TV channel called Tech TV, and that had people like Leo Laporte and Chris Pirillo, and these were just very geeky people. But that actually, I didn't think about that until recently when I was thinking back. That actually inspired me in the long run because I actually discovered Chris Pirillo when he was making videos on YouTube back when I first started, and I was like, oh, I remember him. So he was a big influence to me to making videos. And then outside of that, I guess as far as tech companies and brands, I would say Apple and Samsung and Google, those three, the products that they make definitely, inspired me to continue to make videos.
That's awesome. Now, you've had the chance to review a lot of different products. Are there any that stick out in your mind that you had a lot of fun doing?
I have a lot of fun with drones. Drones are fun because you can, they have good cameras on them. You can get really high and you can just see different perspectives of the world that you just typically can't see from the ground, and you're controlling it. And then also I've been able to put on these goggles that will allow you to see the first person view of the drone itself. So it makes you feel like you're flying through the air. It makes you sick sometimes, but it's really fun to do.
Ooh, I can't even imagine for anyone who gets air sick, that might be their worst nightmare. I know for me, though, I'd probably enjoy that. I think VR glasses are kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely the future, and they're definitely fun to do.
Absolutely. Now, this is a topic I love getting to talk about because for some reason, every time I guest at a Comic-Con, I get asked this by kids. And they think because the way that media portrays it, the only way to be good at what they do is to eat, sleep, and breathe their job. That's it. They can't do anything else. They can't have any other enjoyment. So this is the time we get to talk about hobbies and how they're important to our jobs. So do you have any hobbies that you enjoy doing? And do you think that they're important to being better at your job?
Oh, for sure. So I actually just started taking up hiking. So I like to go hike and just kind of get off by myself and get away from people and be able to just really enjoy nature and just spend some time to think to yourself. And then also I love playing sports. So volleyball, and I used to play kickball a lot as an adult, but I used to be in the kickball league. So that was pretty fun. So just being active is good. And yeah, you're right. Getting away from work is very important, especially in the line of work that I do, just to try to clear your head and just try to be by yourself or be around other people that you know and like, and just to try to kind of reset yourself before you get back to work.
Absolutely. Now, with your line of work, you have something that I love talking about with people because it's very prevalent in our day and age, which is social media. It's very steeped into what you do. And at times, social media can be a little bit overbearing and a little bit much for us to take. Do you think that social media should be everything when it comes to your job, or should it be something that you can find a healthy balance with?
Definitely a balance. I think too much of anything can be bad. And so with social media, there's a lot of really good things that you can get from it, a lot of good information and watching, interviews like this. But it's also good to kind of step away and interact with people differently, outside of using your phone or a device and just person to person. So social media is a lot of good things, but with anything, you just have to find that balance and to kind of make it work for you.
Absolutely. And that's something I always love talking about because I feel like that's something people are so focused on social media. We tend to lose the actual face to face interaction part of it. And it can be a little challenging to differentiate, like, oh, this is how to have a real interaction compared to an online interaction. But also with online interactions, we can get a lot of positive comments as well as some not so positive ones, which in a way is rejection of sorts because we're putting our work out there and somebody didn't like it as much as we hoped they would. Do you think that that's something kids should be taking personally, or is it something that they should realize where it's coming from and judge it off of that?
Yeah, I think, it really depends on how the comment is phrased. You have to be open to criticism. You have to be open to people who disagree with you, because that's healthy. You want to get into discussions with people that may not necessarily have the same viewpoints as you. So I think you want to take the good and the bad comments and things that you see online and, take it in, but also be sure to kind of really decipher what that person was trying to say. And so I think definitely you want to, look at the information that you get. And even if it's negative, hopefully that person is saying it in a way that is respectful, and you can take something and learn something from it if that's the case. And if not, just learn how to kind of deal with it and move on.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it because a lot of times we tend to overthink everything and just keep re-talking about it, rehashing it, but learning how to just like take it, realize like, hey, this is what it is and move from it is probably the like most healthiest way to handle it.
Mhm.
Now, something I love talking about, I feel like this is a topic that fits pretty much every industry, but especially with the online industry, making videos and having a YouTube channel and everything, a big thing that happens is competition. We get put in competition with others for views and likes who are doing similar things to us. Do you think competition should be everything, or can you find a healthy balance and actually become friends and learn with other creators like yourself?
Yeah, I think, friendly competition is what we have, especially with YouTube Tech, because it's all friendly. But of course, you want to be, one of the first to have your videos up, because hopefully you can get the most views. You can get the audience to look at your videos first. But what I found with YouTube Tech, especially, that we are just one big family. I think everybody wants everyone to be able to be successful, and we help each other out all the time. Like, I don't know everything about cameras and stuff like that, even though my name says I know best, but I don't know the best about everything. And there are people that help me out all the time and I get information from. So it's good to be competitive. I think that helps drive you, but also too, you want to make sure that you build, better relationships and friendships with people in the same field as you.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way of putting it because there is always a healthy balance you can find with everything. And having a fun competition to see, like, oh, how can I improve? How can I learn from how somebody else did this is always such a great way to go about it and improve your work. I think that's a great way of putting it. So thank you so much for that. I think that was a great point to bring out. Now, this is something I love getting to talk about, especially because I feel like this is something that we tend to like forget about because everyone thinks like, oh, once you've reached or once you've done a certain thing, that's it. You can't go any higher. There's nothing else you can do. You've peaked. But as artists, as creators, we all have so many dreams, so many things we still want to do, so many things we want to try that it's impossible to say like, oh, I'm done. Is there anything that you haven't done yet or that you want to try out that you haven't gotten to yet?
One kind of crazy idea is that I review a lot of smartphones, and I would love to be able to help with the creative process of like making a phone, whether it's working with the company and giving my ideas and things like that to what I would want to be like the perfect phone. I think that would be really cool. So that's definitely something really ambitious, but I think with the way things are going, I think it's definitely possible to be able to do something. But it's always good to have something that it may seem very hard, but something to work towards. So that would be really fun.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And I think phones would be a lot better if they also had like people who actually use them on a day-to-day basis giving them like actual feedback like, hey, this is stuff that we actually want. We don't want this, where you remove the home button. We just want this system upgrade. This would be good. So that's actually a really cool one, and hopefully one day they actually get around to doing that because I think that would make phones a lot better. Now, is there anything that you've gotten to review that just like stuck out in your mind like, okay, this was really cool and I don't think that I'll ever get to do it again, but I had so much fun doing it?
Hmm. Um, One thing I would talk about maybe my favorite experience ever that I had. So Intel, they make a lot of the processors and things like that. They had a laptop or an ultrabook, and they invited me and a few people out to go to Russia and Australia to use the laptop in a competition, kind of like Amazing Race. So we were running
Ooh.
around doing different events and challenges and stuff, and I had to use the laptop. So that was something that I don't think I'll ever be able to do again. But it was like the absolute best experience of my life, and I look back every day at that, and I remember I had such a blast.
That sounds really cool. And I didn't think that they'd actually do competitions like that when it came to tech, but like
Yeah.
that is super neat. I That just blew my mind. I never knew that they did something like that. So that's really cool.
It was so much fun. The other people, other competitors on there, like we are lifelong friends. It was like 2 weeks, but we talk every single week. And they were from like Indonesia and in India and in Brazil. And yeah, it was such a good time.
That is amazing. I love hearing stories like that where people end up coming out with like really good friends from them because it's just like things like that is what makes these jobs so much fun. And I think that's something that we all forget about because everything's like, oh, you got to work and grind to be the best that you can be and to make the most money. But a lot of it is the journey along the way. And I think that's an important thing to remember about it.
That's true.
Now, I love talking about this because I feel like this is something, the entertainment industry itself has come a long way, but we still have a lot of room to go and room to improve with diversity, with kids being able to see people who look and sound and come from the same places just like they did. How important do you think it is, whether it be in the tech industry, whether it be on YouTube, you name it, that kids are able to see themselves in the people that they're seeing on screen?
I think it's very important. If you see someone that looks like you, or even if it comes down to just from the same city or state that you're in or country, it makes you feel better, right? It makes you feel like something is attainable. And I think that one thing I found on YouTube is that that's something that they've always had to work on. And they've started some more diversity programs, and they bring in certain creators to be able to get feedback on those things like that. So I think, especially with YouTube, where you can find videos from all types of creators all over the world, it's very important to be able to see someone that you can connect with, and then also find those people that you may not think you would connect with, but you may find them anyway, and then find that you have a lot more in common with them too. So I think it's always good to kind of step outside of your box if you can, but then also to just look for people that really inspire you, no matter where they are or whatever. So yeah, I think diversity is definitely important.
Yeah, I think that's something like that's one of my favorite topics to always talk about because the most important part for me on this show was getting like people of all backgrounds, all ethnicities, you name it, because I think that kids should be able to see, instead of just the same person over and over, same type of person, is getting to see people who look and come from the same places that they do. And that's an important thing because we don't have enough of that in the world. And especially when it comes to stuff online, it's always promoted that just this is the attainable thing that you want to be. But I think getting to see a broad spectrum of, hey, look, everybody can do these things is such a great thing.
Oh yeah.
Now, fun question for you, because this is something I love talking about, which is a topic that is a little controversial when it comes to anything with jobs, which is education, because a lot of times people think you need a bachelor's degree, you need a master's degree to have these certain jobs. When you were in school, did you go to school to learn tech things?
No. I went to college and I got my degree in criminal justice.
Really?
So yeah, I know. So I wanted to be in the FBI, but also I was in ROTC in high school and college. So I knew when I graduated, I was getting commissioned in the Army for 8 years too. So after that, I thought, okay, yeah, I'll go into the FBI or something like that. So yeah, it was something totally different from tech.
That is amazing. And I love always hearing like the different responses, because a lot of times people are like, no, I started out in something completely different and that's how I ended up here. So it's always a good thing, I think, for kids to realize that you don't always have to stay in the same career path. If something ends up calling you later, you can totally switch and go for it. Because I think that's an important thing that doesn't always get told to us. But it would be better if we learned it earlier, because it would probably make things a lot easier. But with that,
Nothing
do you
really
think
goes to plan all the time. So you always got to be ready to adjust.
it never goes to plan, and I love that. The more spontaneous, the better. But do you think along with that, that it's technically necessary to have the education to do what you do?
You know what? I think education in anything is good. You know, you can learn something and take something from whatever subject or field that you want to be in. And I think more so, not just thinking about books and learning in that capacity, but also to just being around other people who are thinking too, because you can learn how to think better. You can learn how to digest information differently. So even if you go to college, I mean, the biggest part for me from college is just the experience of being around other people and also learning, of course, but also experiencing, other people and having a good time. And I think that is education in itself, outside of the classroom, but you can learn how to interact with people.
For sure. I think that's a great point, because a lot of people tend to like think it's like, oh, you're only going for the learning. You're going to be sitting in a classroom all day. But a lot of times it's actually the interaction with people that help us grow as a person. So that is a great point to bring out. Now, this question is a little on the serious note, but it's something important, I feel, because a lot of times people think like, oh, you got it going right from the start if you're successful in your career. But we make a lot of mistakes throughout our journey to get to where we are today. And we learn lessons, whether easy or hard, that makes our jobs easier as we go on. Is there any lesson that you can think of, whether easy or hard, that you had to learn that would have made it so much easier for you if you knew it when you started out?
Um, I would have to say the, the, the hardest lesson for me is just realizing that everyone needs help. Like I was kind of raised in my environment to kind of figure it out, right? And
Yeah.
One thing I had to take is that you don't know everything, you can't do everything right, and it is totally okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean that you can't figure it out. Like it's okay to ask for help. So with YouTube, I used to be like, oh, I can figure this out, I can do it, and I used to spend so much time. And then I'm like, wait a second, I know somebody who, specializes in this. Let me just ask them. And that is such a way easier way to kind of get things done. And so that was really huge. And also to just time management, learning how to manage my time and not become overwhelmed with what I'm doing, because in tech, everything happens quickly, and learning how to kind of take a step back and relax a little bit and enjoy the day a little bit, and then get back to work.
That is a great thing. And as somebody who is just starting out their YouTube, I have heavily relied on so many people who know more than me. So I totally get that. That is a hard lesson to learn at first, especially when you're like, I can do it. And you jump in, you're like, okay, no, I can't. It's always great to learn from other people.
Oh yeah.
This question, I feel like, is something that I love talking about, because this is where I love asking you, what projects and what things you are currently working on that just like you're so excited about, because that's like, I want to talk about what you do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, actually, one thing that I just completed a video on, but I have some more information that I'm going to be doing is the foldable phones. So I have like the new Galaxy Z Fold here, and it folds in
Oh,
half,
cool.
and you can fold it, and it has a screen on the outside. So this is just so much fun, and I've been working on videos with this for like the past week or so. So it's one of my favorite devices to use right now. And then also too, I'm just working with other creators and things like that to encourage people to get out and vote in November. And those type of things really kind of bring like a balance to like not just tech, but also to just trying to help people, do good things as well. So
Yeah. I have to tell you, those foldable phones, my
yeah,
friends have been getting them, and I'm like, I
this is
want
the
to
one.
know what these do. I'm like, I don't understand, because I have all Apple products. So I'm just kind of like,
Yeah,
what's going on here? I want to know what's happening. They kind of like get big and then they're small. I don't know what's
yeah,
happening. So I'm definitely going to have to look up that video once it's out, because I need to know what's going on with those. I think that's
yeah.
fun.
They're so much fun. I can't put it down, but I have to. I got to get back to this.
Love it. Just a couple more questions for you, because, these ones are my favorite ones to ask. I feel like these are the most important ones of the show. If there's a lesson you could think of that anybody, depending on age or job, what is one lesson you think that people should know before they start their career?
I think to learn that something that like we talked about before, a lot of things don't always go to plan, and you have to be ready to adjust and be very flexible, and to be ready to pivot at any time. So in order to do that, you have to be on point. You have to be make sure you're prepared as much as possible, and make sure that you're able to be ready for the moment and be ready to step up when you're ready to actually start whatever you're trying to do. So being prepared makes you feel so much confident, so much more confident in yourself. You feel more in control, and yeah, taking that time to kind of get ahead in the beginning, and then you're just ready for whatever comes for you.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing that in any job that we can learn before we go into it, because it would make it a lot easier. Now, last question, my favorite question I get to ask. If there's a kid out there right now, young adult or an adult, who is just getting into the field of tech reviewing, whether they want to learn more or if they just are a little curious about how to do it now, what's the one thing you'd like them to walk away from watching this learning?
I would let them know that just start doing it. Sometimes people are afraid of how they may look on camera or how they may sound. They may get nervous. And the only way you can get past that is to do it. I was nervous. I was completely nervous when I first started. I was like a robot sitting there talking in front of the camera. But the more you do it, the better you get. So if you're interested in YouTube or just tech videos and stuff like that, just get out there and do it. Take out your phone. Most phones have cameras that are way more capable than we had back in the day, and just start making it and upload it and get the feedback from your audience. And trust me, you'll see that it's not as bad as what you think, and it'll be a lot of fun.
You just said something that I have to ask very quickly, because I feel like this is something I struggle with since I'm mostly not behind a camera. I'm always usually behind a desk, and I know a lot of kids are a little like camera shy. Does that camera shyness ever go away?
Yeah, it does. Like I'm actually not like super like outgoing or anything, but like when I get in front of the camera, like I can sit here and talk, forever. Or if and this has actually helped me when sometimes I go on stages and I do speeches, or just do any type of public speaking. Actually sitting here in front of the camera has actually helped me with that, because I can get on there and just and talk for days now. So it does go away. It does go away. It may take a month. It may take a year, but eventually you'll get all those jitters out, and you'll get more comfortable.
Oh man, I am happy to hear that they might go away eventually, and I hope for you kiddos out there that makes you feel a little better, because I know it helped me a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Now comes my favorite part of the show, where I'm able to show you what I was able to make of you as we were talking. I'm going to
All right.
warn you in advance, and you probably know this, that lighting totally messes up with tech screens. So I will definitely have this sent over to you later as well.
Cool.
But I'm going to try to get it up in there. Hopefully I don't drop the iPad again.
Oh, that is awesome. That is
I
so
made that
awesome.
mistake one time. dropping the
You
iPad on
gave me a
camera.
little bit more hair on my beard, which I like. I'm having a hard time growing out my beard here.
It looks like it's a full beard over here, so you're good. The camera makes it look very full. You're good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you again to everyone who tuned in. Again, I am your host and in-house artist, Erin Leffler. Catch you next time on the drawing board. I don't have one of those clickers yet, so I'm like, all right, where are we stopping? Right here.
And scene.
And scene.